Islamist extremists and far-right groups are spreading a poison. That poison is extremism.
Did you hear about the ongoing pro-Palestine marches in the United Kingdom? They are not backing down, even after UK PM Rishi Sunak warned of extremists targeting democracy, citing a surge in disruptive behaviour.
Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has stated clearly that his proposal to deport migrants and Islamists to Rwanda aims to tackle the UK's immigration challenges. This initiative is part of a broader strategy to curb illegal immigration and address extremist activities within the country. Sunak's plan intends to deport extremists and hate preachers, resulting in numerous arrests and deportations. In today's video, we'll cover the Prime Minister's deportation plans and his stance on the Gaza conflict discussed during his head-to-head debate in the 2024 election campaign. If you haven't already, subscribe to our channel for more updates.
Days after adopting a law to deport irregular migrants to Rwanda, Britain has sent its first asylum seeker to the East African country, but as of now under a voluntary scheme. According to British media reports, the unnamed migrant was flown out of the country on Monday. The voluntary scheme is different from the forced deportation program Britain is about to implement in the next few months in a bid to deter asylum seekers from crossing the English Channel in small boats to stay in Britain.
Prime Minister Rishi Sunak and Labour leader Keir Starmer clashed in their first TV debate of the 2024 election campaign, discussing various issues including immigration. Sunak firmly backed his proposal to send asylum seekers and those arriving on small boats to Rwanda, which would be implemented immediately if he wins re-election. The deportation plan also targets individuals from Afghanistan, Sudan, Syria and Eritrea, as they are perceived to contribute to problems in the UK. Both parties also expressed their views on the Israel-Gaza conflict, which is causing disruptions in many parts of the UK. Protests linked to this conflict occur almost daily. During the first general election debate of 2024 in the UK, an audience member expressed frustration, noting politicians' broken promises on immigration. They questioned why they should trust either Rishi Sunak or Keir Starmer to address the issue of people risking their lives to cross the channel to the UK. This reflects public scepticism and the need for practical solutions. Prime Minister Sunak acknowledged that immigration levels are too high and cited his Rwanda policy as a deterrent for illegal migration, along with his proposed legal migration cap. He informed the audience that migrants have been held in detention and that flights will begin in July, but only if he remains Prime Minister. He cautioned that if Keir Starmer is elected, all those individuals will be released. Flights will be called off and there will be no deterrent to prevent the unfairness of people crossing by boat. Keir Starmer accused Mr Sunak of being the most lenient Prime Minister on immigration, pointing to record high migration levels of 685,000 in recent years. The Prime Minister acknowledges the issue, stating it's too high and takes responsibility for those whose movements have been restricted, arrested, detained and are awaiting deportation on the earliest available flight. The Home Office has announced it is making arrests among an initial group of about 5,700 men and women who arrived in the UK without prior permission between January 2022 and June 2023. Members of this group have been notified of possible deportation to Rwanda. However, government records show that the Home Office has lost touch with thousands of potential deportees. Only 2,430 have been found and detained up to now, leaving over 3,500 individuals without contact. Some are thought to have fled across the Northern Irish border into Ireland. While exact numbers haven't been given by the government, arrests are happening nationwide. Critics argue that people from conflict zones with no connections to Rwanda are being unfairly singled out.
The Secretary has instructed that if those here on visas choose to spew hate or protest or seek to intimidate people, we will remove their right to be here.
The UK government is working towards adding hate extremists to the visa warning list, and those on the list will be automatically refused entry to the UK. Sunak voiced concerns about democracy being under threat due to recent events, particularly the Hamas attacks on Israel back in October.
Maddie Harris highlighted that asylum seekers from conflict zones like Afghanistan, Sudan, Syria, and Eritrea who have no ties to Rwanda are being detained under this program. Julie Etchingham noted that many people feel uneasy about the positions taken by both Israel and Gaza. Keir Starmer stressed that the situation in Gaza is unbearable and disastrous, emphasising the immediate need for a ceasefire and an end to hostilities. Our first priority should be rescuing the hostages. I fear for their well-being, he said, underlining the urgent need for humanitarian aid to reach Gaza. Additionally, we must work towards a lasting solution, particularly through a two-state approach. It's vital for us to show leadership in this matter. If we're willing to serve humbly, it's my solemn responsibility. The Prime Minister addressed the situation as terrible and expressed contentment that Sir Keir Starmer has backed Israel's right to self-defence. He also mentioned the US plan aimed at stopping hostilities immediately, freeing hostages, increasing aid and working towards a lasting solution with a two-state approach. Regarding concerns about Islamists causing disturbances in UK streets and universities, no specific issues were discussed in these areas during the meeting. Prime Minister Sunak opposes all protests by these Islamists and has passed a bill to deport extremists or hate preachers from the country. As a result, many Islamists have been arrested, with some currently detained and awaiting deportation flights to Rwanda, while others have already been sent back immediately. The issue of immigration continues to dominate discussions across the UK. As Prime Minister Rishi Sunak pushes forward with his deportation plans, opinions remain divided on the effectiveness and fairness of such measures.
Mr. Speaker, I said enough is enough, and I mean it, and that means I am prepared to do what must be done. So early next year, we will introduce new legislation to make unambiguously clear that if you enter the UK illegally, you should not be able to remain here. Instead, you will be detained and swiftly returned either to your home country or to a safe country where your asylum claim will be considered. And you will no longer be able to frustrate removal attempts with late or spurious claims or appeals. And once removed, you should have no right to re-entry, settlement or citizenship.
Critics argue that the deportation policy, particularly sending individuals to Rwanda, raises serious ethical concerns. Many question whether Rwanda, a country with its own challenges, is a suitable destination for deported individuals, especially those fleeing conflict or persecution. The debate intensifies as concerns about the human rights implications of such actions come to the forefront. On the other hand, supporters of the plan argue that tough measures are necessary to control immigration and maintain order. They emphasise the need to deter illegal migration and address security threats posed by extremists entering the country. Meanwhile, Labour leader Keir Starmer presents himself as an alternative voice, raising questions about the fairness and efficacy of Sunak's policies. Starmer advocates for a more compassionate approach to immigration while addressing the root causes that drive people to seek asylum in the UK. As the political landscape heats up, the upcoming election becomes more than a contest between parties. It's a battle of ideologies and approaches to some of the most pressing issues facing the nation. In the realm of foreign policy, the Israel-Gaza conflict looms large, adding another layer of complexity to an already intense political environment. The differing perspectives on how to address this conflict reflect broader divisions within the UK society. Prime Minister Sunak's support for Israel's right to defend itself clashes with calls for a ceasefire and humanitarian aid to Gaza from opposition leader Starmer. The debate highlights not only differing views on international affairs, but also questions about the UK's role in promoting peace and stability in the region. Amidst these challenges, the government faces scrutiny over its handling of protests and issues related to extremism within the country. Critics raise concerns about civil liberties and the targeting of specific communities, while supporters argue for robust measures to ensure national security. The debate over immigration policy also intersects with broader discussions about identity, integration, and the future direction of the UK. It's not just about who comes into the country, but also about what kind of society Britain aims to be in the years to come. As the election campaign unfolds, both Sunak and Starmer are under pressure to articulate clear visions for the country's future. They must address not only immediate concerns, but also long-term challenges, from immigration to healthcare, economy and climate change. Meanwhile, grassroots movements and civil society organisations play a crucial role in shaping the narrative and holding politicians accountable. Their voices add depth to the debate and remind leaders of the diverse perspectives and needs of the population. Beyond the political arena, everyday life goes on for people across the UK. Families, communities and individuals navigate their own challenges and aspirations amidst the tumult of politics and policy debates. In the midst of uncertainty, there's also hope for positive change and progress. Whether it's through grassroots activism, community initiatives or political engagement, many strive to make a difference and shape a better future for all. The immigration debate is not just about numbers on a spreadsheet or policies on paper. It's about people's lives, dreams and aspirations. It's about finding a balance between compassion and security, between openness and control. As the election draws nearer, the choice facing voters becomes increasingly clear. Which vision for the future of the UK resonates most with their values and aspirations? It's a decision that will shape the country for years to come. Beyond the borders of the UK, the world watches closely as one of the leading democracies navigates its way through challenging times. The decisions made in the coming months will not only impact the lives of British citizens, but also reverberate globally. In the end, the future of the UK hinges not only on the outcome of elections, but also on the collective efforts of its people to build a society that is inclusive, prosperous and resilient in the face of change. What are your thoughts on this? Please share with us in the comments section below.